Guys, so I'm filming this solo episode it's Valentine's Day, actually, right now. And I had just pressed record a few minutes ago, and I heard a knock at the door, and I don't typically open the door. Like, either it's DoorDash, it's a package, it's someone coming to rob me, so, like, I'm not typically opening the door for strangers, but one of my friends did, listen to that ASMR. One of my friends did send me something, and it says it's been delivered, and it hasn't been, and so I've been checking my mail, and so for some reason I thought, like, maybe this was a neighbor giving me that package, or, anyway, I'm all over the place because I just got flowers for Valentine's Day. I've never gotten flowers for Valentine's Day. I don't think I've ever had a Valentine. That was really sweet. Not going to tell you from who, though. Yum. This is good. Do you guys remember I used to talk about this brand, Just Enough Whine? I partnered with them a while ago. Season 1, Carolyn and I did, and it's honestly been a while. I don't think our discount code works. 100% transparency, but I love these women. It's a women-owned brand. It's a woman-owned brand. It's just delicious and they're lovely, and they sent me some wine a while ago, so wanting to make sure to highlight it. And also I just want to highlight the fact that I am wearing cow socks and camo pants against pink curtains and polka dot pillows. I don't see anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? I don't see the problem. Oh my God, I'm so, like, jazzed about that. It made me very horny. Okay, back to the matter at hand. Solo episode, which I'm actually so horny about as well, because I have been feeling for a while, like, there's so many funny and hilarious and crazy stories that I need to tell you guys, and I do talk about them a lot in passing. And so I just kept thinking, like, how do I bring those up? Because when I have a guest on, like, maybe something will come up where I can, like, share that story. But I started to think about, because you guys have asked for solo episodes and you love them, which I appreciate, I was like, how can I make this, like, so, I don't know. Basically, I'm changing what am I trying to say? I'm changing the template, I'm changing the model, I'm changing it up a bit. So I am still going to, like, give little, updates as to, like, what's been going on, what have I been up to, which honestly hasn't been a whole lot. It never typically is. And then I always can't even remember what I do. I need to keep, like, a running note of things that I do. Anyway, but then I'm going to do solo, like, on that solo episode, I'm going to do, like, a specific topic or, like, for example, like this one, I'm actually going to tell you guys about how I, started off in the costume world. I feel like that's a question I get asked a lot, and people are so entertained by that, and I'm such a jaded bitch that, like, sometimes I forget that, like, that was really cool. So we're going to get to that part of the episode in a little bit, but first, a little bit of a shmupdate. The Super Bowl, and this is obviously going to be delayed because the Super Bowl just happened for me 3 days ago. Next week, it'll be a week and 3 days. But anyway, wanted to obviously touch on the Super Bowl. I enjoyed it. I was just over at Great Idea Redhead Rachel's house and her boyfriend, and we just had some homemade dinner. We just watched the Super Bowl. It was fun. The Usher show, the halftime show with Usher, I originally liked. Like, I haven't rewatched it. Everyone's saying it was super chaotic, da-da-da-da-da, but, like, if you remember in season 2, like, go Riri, go Rihanna. She's so talented. She's so amazing. Obviously, she had her shit together and her pregnancy announcement in the Super Bowl last year, and it was amazing. It truly, truly, truly was. But I'm more of, like, a performative gal. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see, like, the lights, the fire, the this, the that, the rollerblades. So I actually quite liked Usher's performance. As for him and Alicia Keys, I did think it was, okay, on one hand, as a performer, entertainer, like, I can see very clearly through that lens, and I do feel like it's like, okay, relax, everyone. Like, it's a performance, it's a show, it's entertainment, it's the Super Bowl. So that's on one hand. The second hand is, yeah, was it a little much? For sure. For her, sure. But that's just, like, I just kind of expected it back when it was the Usher Kiki Palmer drama and like her boyfriend got all up in his shit. Like it's just a performance thing. And I do feel like that's why sometimes I get a little in my head about this podcast and dating someone if they just don't get the entertainment value. Like obviously there's never going to be an opportunity for somebody to like bump and grind on me on these podcast couches. But there are going to be opportunities for us to like talk about inappropriate things or bring up something from the past. And like, it's just about the entertainment of it all. So I'm really quite all right about that. And also, I don't know if this makes me not a feminist or what, but everyone is really freaking out about that Travis Kelce, Andy Reid thing on the sidelines. And while, first of all, on the record, would like to state that yes, it was definitely out of line. One, like, that's your elder. Two, that's your coach. Like, have some respect. Totally out of line. 100% it was a mistake, for sure. Inappropriate behavior. No excuse. For sure. Like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, okay? But then the Taylor Swift fans who, like, can't get over it and are now worried for Taylor Swift's safety. And, like, listen, we do know some history about some football players going batshit crazy and beating their wives and girlfriends. It's not limited to just football players. And it's just a thing in this world, unfortunately. But, like, I just don't think him getting, like, fired up about, like, the Super Bowl, like, that incredible moment in time for him to his coach obviously caught him off balance. Like, I just don't think it's, like, equatable to, like, Taylor, you burned my eggs for breakfast and now I'm going to yell at you. Like, I just think that people are, like, taking a little far with the worried about Taylor's safety thing. Open to thoughts. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like, I think it's fine, guys. I just think it's fine. Also, cool ending of the game. I wasn't going for either team, but whatever. I was at Rachel's house and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be like the Seahawks score from when they won, like the Seahawks last few seconds. And Rachel's boyfriend was like, how did you even know that reference? I'll tell you how I knew that reference. Because the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl was the year that my mom died. My mom was at a hospital in Seattle, Washington, alive still at this point. But I had to fly up to get there to go see her, and could not get anywhere because it was the day of the Super Bowl parade in Seattle, and it was such a fucking shit show. Like, couldn't get a taxi, couldn't get an Uber, couldn't take the trains or the subways or whatever they called. Like, it was just absolute chaos. And so, like, I just don't know what type of person these days is going to a Super Bowl event like that. Personally, there is a gnat flying in front of the camera, and I'm going to fucking, like, what is wrong? I think it's these plants that I have. They're bringing gnats. I can see it flying around. It's probably going to be in your view. How annoying. Anyway, so I just don't know what kind of person is, like, a Super Bowl baddie. Like, who's out, like, was Taylor there? Like, the risk of, I mean, just being trampled, but also, like, there was obviously a shooting. There was a shooting at a nightclub in Hollywood on the day of the Super Bowl. Like, what is going on in this world? And it's just, like, people are getting so desensitized from it. You know, you talk about, like, oh my God, did you hear about the shooting or the this, the that? And they're like, yeah, sad. That's why I stay inside. That's why. And I'm like, oh my God, this world. It's just like, and I get it, by the way. Obviously, you know me. I've been through some shit. I get it. But it's like, it's just sad. It's really sad. I don't know. Sad to think about. Last weekend, I did go to, if you're not following her on Instagram, you should. Her name is Spoiled Latina. I've been following her pretty much since I moved, maybe a little bit after I moved here to Houston. And she started doing these, like, Spoiled Latina summits, these, like, 2-3 day summits here in Houston. It's like an influencer event. And obviously, like, this is before I even started the podcast. Actually, I would look at that and be like, how fun. Like, I would love to go to that one day and just, like, I don't know, I guess be an influencer, like, be around that crowd of creative people. Like, it just looked like a lot of fun, and the fashion was cool, and it's all pink. She always has, like, pink hair, and she's big on sneakers. Oh, so funny story, I ran into her, and I was like, we follow each other on Instagram, so I just wanted to introduce myself to you. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you did. Yeah, I follow you on Instagram, follow the podcast. So the Sneaker Gala was her first event for her new nonprofit business called Jefita Atrevida, which means daring little boss. So she invited me there, which was really sweet, and it was really cool. I got to meet, I didn't get a chance to mingle too much, to be honest with you. Like, I wouldn't say, do I have imposter syndrome? I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that I do, but I was feeling a little, I got invited. I didn't know if anyone was that I knew was going to be going. And then the day of, I did find out that Miriam, who I've had on the podcast before, she was going to be going, which was exciting. But I was like, okay, here we go, girlfriend. Like, this is putting your social, like, your ability to be social to the test. And you all know me, like, I can obviously talk. It was just a different kind of event, rather. I don't know. It just, I knew that there was going to be a lot of people. It was a sneaker gala, so people were going to be in dresses. What was the vibe? Was I overdressing? Was I underdressing? So anyway, I had a really good time, and I was happy to, I was gifted the ticket, which was great. So I ended up donating to the Jefita Atrevida organization. And so this specific event, and I think, to my understanding, is maybe one day I'll have her on. So I think that either the nonprofit or the event itself is was to help graduating seniors with like the resources and mentorship that comes with graduating high school. So that's graduation outfit, the cap and gown, pictures, hair and makeup. Like, she kind of mentioned, like, in her speech that night, she mentioned like what my mom did for me, I'll never forget, and the struggles that, you know, my family went through to be able to support my family. Like, I'll just never forget, and I want to pay that forward and pay it back. So, really cool event. She's amazing. Spoiled Latina on Instagram. She's always up to something. So definitely a good follow if you're looking for, one, good fashion, but two, an inspirational woman to follow. So that's that. I've been alluding. I feel like I haven't done a solo episode since, I guess not before Christmas. No way. Oh, yeah. I think so. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's that song? Guys, I can't tell you how hard it is to drink wine and constantly have the feeling of to burp and and have a microphone in front of you. It's really quite hard. Wow, I literally, the patterns right now on the screen in front of me, I can't even take it. Like, these cow socks, this lime green phone, we've got the tchotchke shelf over to my right if you're watching it on the YouTube. Okay, so yeah, I've alluded to this. I think the last solo episode I did was, must have been before Christmas. No, it was after, because I did give you an update. That's right. I wasn't ready to talk about it. But I have alluded to the situation a lot. And not to be secretive, but it just like wasn't the right time to bring it up. I had other things I want to talk about, or with a guest on. I just feel like you guys are listening to hear what's up with the guest, not me all the time, even though I always make it about me. But let's touch on the New Year's drama. If you've been listening to the pod for a while, you know that rugby guy. Ding, 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 ding. Bing, bang, boom. Worst idea ever. Like, don't go backwards. That's the end of the story there. Period. Here's what happened. So I can't even begin to tell you the whole rugby story, but basically you guys know that we ended up stopping talking, and I did do an episode explaining that, and like, listen, he's not a bad guy, but like, obviously he's just going through some stuff and like didn't work out. Months later, we ended up reconnecting. I did reach back out to him, and I went through it, you know what I mean? Like, I almost like texted him and called him several times, and my girlfriends and friends were just like, no, delete his number. So I even deleted his number, and that didn't work. I ended up DMing him, which, like, shame on me. Anyway, I got to make this kind of short because we've got an episode to conquer, and this gnat. And this guy is just so of low importance to me. Actually, it's a situation that is of huge importance because it's changed my mindset and my confidence dramatically in the best way possible, and I can't wait to tell you guys about that part of it. So anyway, so I don't regret what happened. So basically, we rekindled. Ended up talking on the phone. He ended up apologizing for kind of the way he treated me and, you know, the things that had gone down, and which I appreciated, of course. And then he asked if there was ever a world where I wanted to, quote, open up that can of worms again. I basically said, I'm going to be honest, that would be really tough for me to do because just like I just don't want to give like too many details as personally, I never want to do that for somebody because they didn't sign up to be on the podcast. But basically I was like, you know, I just put in so much effort the first time that we did this, and I just haven't received much back, so I just don't know that I would be able to. Why don't you think about it, and if you're really, 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 like, wanting to take this seriously, then I would be open to it, but just understand that, like, I'm a good human. Like, please don't fuck with my feelings. Like, I would rather just us be like, this was cool. This was, like, personally the closure I needed. Thank you for the apology. Like, let's not do this again. Like, we don't even need to talk as friends. Like, can't be friends, you know? So that was that. And then she's maybe 2 to 3 weeks later. I ended up talking to my therapist, and she's like, do you feel like you put up a wall? Like, by saying, you know, I'm probably not interested. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Because I'm scared shitless of getting hurt again. That was so traumatic and so hard to do. I was so hurt and so upset. And, so she's like, well, maybe, like, we're trying to work on you not putting up a wall, you know? So I ended up messaging him saying, hey, you know, I've been thinking for the past couple weeks. I'm not sure if you've been, but, I am open to opening conversation if you are. And he responded with, you know, thank you so much. Like, you're so mature. That's something I've always really, like, appreciated about you. You can just have conversations and you're not afraid. And I would love to do that. Like, I'm trying not to give too many personal details, but, like, he was in to improve the things that he had to apologize for. And I was going to work on the things that, like, I didn't apologize for, but, because I did nothing wrong. Let's be real fucking crystal clear about that. And so, anyway, things that I was going to change just personally, like, I was just doing too much. Anyway, things are going well. This is, like, October-ish. We're chatting. Things are going well. With my work, like, it just so happens that I'm going to have a few days off between Christmas and New Year's. I was not planning on going home for Christmas because I had just been to LA, like, I think 4 or 5 times at this point. So this trip was actually my 5th or 6th. Anyway, I bring up to him, I'm like, hey, I don't know if this is too soon or not, but at the rate we're going, it might be, like, a good idea to see each other soon, just to, like, see if we still have that connection. I have this time off from work. If it's too soon, not a problem. No worries. Like, let's just push that down the road a bit. And he's like, no, that would be awesome, blah, blah, blah. So we conversated about that a lot, you know, a lot of things up in the air. I end up booking a ticket, and I am going to spend then, like, 2 or 3 days with my sisters, and then I'm going to meet him in San Diego. That's the plan. Can I just also, I forgot to mention the fact that, like, my stomach is in knots pretty much every single day, like, since I started talking to him again. I am having extreme anxiety. I am about nothing in my life compared to him, but it's like all back again. Everything that I was feeling before and all my things that I was scared about and worried about are 100% back, and I feel so unsettled. I feel like this was the wrong decision, but, like, I'm in it. Like, maybe I'm wrong. This is a second chance. Like, you asked for it. You were the one who reached out, you know, like, see it through. So, I said, bought the ticket. So we're conversing. Everything is good. You know, he says multiple times he's excited to see me, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to spend New Year's with him. We're just going to lay low. I kept kind of asking for not a plan as far as, like, what are we doing when I'm in San Diego? Like, I didn't need a step by step, but I just wanted to, like, because I was having so much anxiety about it, I needed reassurance and confidence that, like, this was happening. You know what I mean? And I told him that, like, I'm not going to be I wouldn't be coming to LA or to California again. Like, this is, you know, you're the reason. So I just want to make sure you know that before I buy the ticket. And he's like, yeah, I got you for sure. Blah, 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 blah. So I don't really get, like, the reassurance or plan I need eventually. So I'm flying to California New Year's Eve, which is a Sunday. Or I'm sorry, I'm flying to California Christmas Eve, which is a Sunday, to hang out with my sisters for a few days. So he knows that. He knows my flight. A week and a half before I fly out, I'm like, hey, what's the plan? Let's get on the phone. We've been playing phone tag. And he's like, yeah. He's like, no, is everything okay? I was thinking we should get an Airbnb instead of stay with he has roommates. And I said, sure. Like, and in my head, I was like, good luck finding an affordable one at this time, you know, New Year's Eve in San Diego. Good Lord. But let me know. Keep me posted. that was about a week and a half before. And then a week before, so 7 days before I fly to LA, which I'm packing for 2 trips and 1 trip, we text on Sunday, and it was like casual conversation, like nothing of importance. Then the next day, I got a notification from Airbnb saying, on my phone, because they're listening, saying like, are you looking to book a home in San Diego? And so I sent him a screenshot, and I was like, hey, let me know if you need, or I was like, oh, they're listening. Haha, let me know if you need help finding a spot. Never heard from him again. Never heard from this guy. So that was Monday morning. The next day I texted him just like hey, like, remember what we spoke about when we opened this can of worms again? Like, I'm not going to say exactly what I said, but like, don't forget that we talked about not doing this again, you know? And I literally, whiners, have never spoken to him again. So that Tuesday I didn't hear from him. Wednesday I changed my flight, like still went to California with my sisters. And that's why I mentioned in my last solo episode, I was just like right place, right time. I was so happy to be there. It just felt really good to be with my sisters at this moment that I was going through this. But moral of the story, guys, is I had a literal flight book to go see a man, and he never responded to me again. That's all you need to know. Like, I don't know whether to call this guy like a psychopath or an asshole or a motherfucker or emotionally unwell, insensitive, a coward. Like, by the way, I was about to say, like, no hard feelings towards the guy. I really don't. Like, I actually, when we stopped talking the first time, I thought about him every day. 100%. I was like, this feels weird. This feels off. Like, I miss him. What happened? Something is wrong. Like, our timing is not done. We're supposed to do something more. I don't know what it is, but, like, we're supposed to do more. And, so switched my flight on Wednesday. I was over at my girlfriend's house, 2 of my girlfriends. You know, I told them what had happened, and they were like, okay, you need to block him on Instagram. And I was like, I'm not a blocker, you know, I'm not going to do that. And they were like, no, it's literally not an option. And I was like, because of like some things that he had told me, like things that he was going through, I was like, I would hate to reach out to somebody in a time of need who, yeah, I screwed over, but to find out that they blocked me and like that be like the final cherry on top of like the shittiness of their life. So I said, I'm not going to block, but I will unfollow, and I will remove him from a follower. And can I tell you, if you are going through any sort of similar situation to this, do that, because the amount of time that I've thought about him, I've never gone back and looked at his profile. There's not been one single day where I've typed in his name, looked at his profile to go stalk, to go see if he's looked at my shit ever again. So, and that's, it's, I think, to do with like the fact that I'm feeling so good about myself and that kind of thing as well. But like, that's the trick. Unfollow and have them unfollow you if you're not a blocker. If you're a blocker, love that for you. I'm just, oh God, I wish I was. So anyway, actually recently I was with my girlfriend at a coffee shop, and I was telling her the situation. She's like, well, you got to block him. And I was like, I don't need to, because I really don't even think about him. You asked me the situation. That's why I'm telling you. Like, I feel so healed from that situation. And she's like, yeah, but he's going to reach out to you. They always do. And like, you're going to be having the best day. And like, you feel so confident about it. Like, but it's going to throw you, and you just don't need that. And I was like, okay, fine. I was like, here's his, like, type in his name. I don't even want to see his profile. I don't even want like a jog of a memory to come back to me. So you can absolutely block him. So she did, and I haven't looked back. Can you guys believe? But here's what I have to say. So that happened. And then I mentioned this a couple times on a few episodes that I've had with guests. Like, so then during Christmas, I said to my sisters, like, I am not doing this anymore. I'm the one who was doing too much. And I'm not, even it obviously is out of the goodness in my heart, but like some people just don't want that, and that's fine. And I'm doing too much, and it's like too much for them. And then some people don't deserve that, and they do want that. And so I have to tell you that I said out loud I'm looking for somebody to court me, to like me, to reassure me, to appreciate me, to show me that they like me, to go a little bit of above and beyond before I do. And that's not like on a tit for tat basis. Like I do, because that is who I am, above and beyond. I'm a little extra and I like to show my love in that way, you know? But I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just not going to do it. And I matched with, I've talked about this before, Short King alert. I got to stop calling him Short King because he's really not, and I get it, and everyone keeps getting really upset with me, but like that's what we know him by. So Short King alert came in, matched on an app. I think it was New Year's Eve we matched. So that's what, when I say like this guy came with the energy that I wanted, there was no question. The energy that I put out into the universe is the energy I got from that guy. And I go to my therapy session, I think it was like mid-January I went to my therapy session, and my therapist knew. She was like, hey, are you coming in? And I said, yeah, buckle up. Like, I didn't end up seeing Rugby Guy over New Year's. And she's like, oh God. I walked in. I had like one of the most happy, productive therapy sessions. I was like so on top of the world. And she's like, I mean, she didn't call me girlfriend, but basically her attitude was like, girlfriend, you have got it going on. And I was like, no, I've said this whole time I've been seeing her in my whole life. Like, I love myself. I think I'm beautiful. I think I'm this. I think I'm great. Like, I do love myself. I don't know why that's not coming across in the way that I date, you know? I walked out of that therapy session and I have not looked back. I love myself unequivocally. I am worth so fucking much. I am worth the world, the stars, the moon, and the sky, and I'm going to give that to somebody when it's the person who deserves that from me. So I've never looked back. I fully believe in myself. I fully think I'm the fucking shit. And again, it's not in like a I'm so over dating way. It's like I genuinely in my heart am so happy and so settled. And I would say I used to like identify very much so with anxious attachment style in dating. And my dating since this has happened, I'm going to have to go into that like on a different episode because again, we just don't get the time with this new format I'm doing because I have a story I want to tell you. But that's the story. Fuck Rugby Guy. Honestly, I do wish him the best. I obviously think that he's unwell, and I hope that he one day figures that out for himself because I'm sure he's hurt a lot of people. I'm sure he's hurting himself by the way he acts. Like, that's just not nice to do to anyone. So anyway, that's that story. Questions, comments, concerns? Sound off in the comments like they say on the toast. I just spilled down my boob. Oh no, if I had a hoodie on, this wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so that's the New Year's Eve drama. Signed, sealed, delivered. Never have to talk about that again, which I'm so jazzed about. Sometimes I just want to like think through my feelings, the way I want to portray it. Not that I wouldn't portray it right, but like, again, you can tell that I was trying to like dance around exactly what I wanted to say or not, because he did not sign up to have his dirty laundry shared on this very popular and successful podcast. Okay, so now the story I'm going to tell y'all is the little bit about me, is how I ended up in the costume world. I had my friend Rachel Campbell on an episode, gosh, I don't know, that was in July. I don't even know what episode that was, probably in the 40s or 50s. And y'all loved that episode, which was so cool. And again, sometimes I just feel like I'm a little bit jaded when people ask me about this part of my life. I'm like, oh yeah, they're like, who have you worked with? And I'm like, and I have to like think of somebody cool because they all kind of seem uncool to me because they're just like normal people. But I realize that it's not like an everyday kind of shtick kind of situation. So I'm going to see if I can, keep this to 25 minutes or less. We'll see. Okay. How I ended up in the costuming in the TV movie industry. So a little bit of background for me is obviously I graduated high school and then I went straight to FIDM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. I think I went there with the intention of wanting to be a stylist. That I majored in visual communications. Before that, I was an intern at a PR company and worked at a PR company with Chad Schubert, my brother Pookie Bear, who I love so much. He was on season 1 of the podcast, so those episodes are gone. Sorry about it. Maybe I'll have him on again. But so worked at a PR company with him. I worked at a chic little devil style house in LA, but I quit that, which I've talked about. Like, I was just a big old quitter. Nothing was making me horny, job-wise. Anyway, so I was always a server, served and bartended throughout all of that. And so I just knew that I wanted to be in the entertainment or fashion world. And I don't really know why. I mean, I don't know from just like watching TV, watching reality TV, like, I don't know really where that came from. My dad, you know, guys, my deadbeat dad, he was in sound or color in TV and movies. So I wonder if that's why, like, if that was, if it's in the blood or something. Anyway, so I'm in year 1 of FIDM and I end up having quite a few classes with this girl named Christy, who, shout out Christy, love that bitch. I also went to high school with her. So we were at FIDM together and loved FIDM, by the way. Like, I always say if I could go to FIDM for the rest of my life and get like paid to do for it, me and Carolyn used to say that because she went to FIDM too. We would. It was so fun. It was a total experience, like in downtown LA. Like, it was very reality TV of us, really, you know? That's where we ate those tuna fish sandwiches that people are wondering who ate tuna fish sandwiches. Me and Carolyn did at FIDM. From the gas station, we would split a $5 footlong. And that was our life. And then we would go, I think she was interning at like E! News and I was interning at the PR. I don't know. We did a lot back in those days. Who were we? Who knows? So anyway, I ended up taking a couple classes with Christy. Shout out Christy. One day in class, and like I said, guys, I'm a fucking quitter. If I don't like something, it's not going well, I'm quitting. Like, I'm gonna make it an excuse. Like, it's gonna be a whole ass lie, too. I ended up quitting FIDM and said I wanted to be a teacher. No, sorry, I did not want to be a teacher. I don't even know where that came from, why I said that. I don't know. But anyway, I was sitting in this terrible class. Oh my gosh, what was the teacher's name? I don't remember. But Christy was like, I think she was like, I think I'm going to drop out and I'm going to go work with my mom. She's a costume designer for CSI. And I was like, I want to drop out. And so then I did. I dropped out. I had like taken all my finals but 2 classes and I literally was just like, no, I'm not going back. So anyway, like, I don't even know, like, she had nothing to do with me. I didn't know her mom. I wasn't going to go work in that industry. I didn't even know what that industry was. Anyway, so quit, and then fast forward, I end up moving from, this is years later, by the way. This was when I was 18, 19 years old at FIDM. Then when I'm moving from Santa Clarita, who's like the hometown that I grew up in, then I moved from there to Hermosa Beach with a couple of my best friends. They had already been living there, house 1707. Oh my God, best living situation ever. That was so fun. Which that'll totally have to be some solo episode story time. Basically, my mom was dying and I had to get a job out in, there was a lot going on. I was moving, my mom was dying, but I had to get a new job out in Hermosa Beach because the server job that I had, like, I couldn't be driving back to Santa Clarita when I just moved to this town like an hour away. It just didn't make sense. So anyway, I ended up stumbling upon this restaurant called Four Daughters Kitchen, which I truly think that I was meant to be at this restaurant. For all the shit that I went through at this restaurant, I still think that it was like, I mean, obviously I wouldn't have been, I don't know where I would have been without going to this restaurant and getting a job there. Like, isn't that crazy that like one different move, who knows where the hell we'd be? Because I'm one of 4 daughters. So the reason why, like, Four Daughters Kitchen, I'm one of 4 daughters. My mom was dying. Like, it was just a very symbolic whoa moment. Because I had been applying to jobs. I'd gone to interviews and then, like, the manager wasn't there. And it was just, like, I was getting no's. And I was like, I'm a fucking incredible server. You guys are missing out. Anyway, I stumbled upon Four Daughters Kitchen, okay? So don't forget Christy in this story. I walk in, I'm interviewing, I get the job. Great, great, great. One day I see Boris Kojo. I didn't even know, like, I saw this man sitting at the bar and, like, shout out to his wife. Like, absolutely no disrespect to Nicole Ari Parker, because if I had a choice between the two of them, I would choose Nicole. But saw this gorgeous specimen sitting. The sun from the South Bay was shining, and I was like, who is that man? My manager told me that's Boris Kojo. He is married, child, and also he is an actor. Please be discreet. And I was like, oh, okay, got you. Anyway, I ended up becoming close with him and his wife and his two kids, which were like, oh my gosh, how old were they at the time? Gosh, 10 years ago? I think they're like graduating high school. One's in college. So they were, I don't know, they were like 5 and 7 at the time-ish. Anyway, they would come over for school. I'd cut their pancakes. Like, Boris or Nicole would come back later and pay for the bill. Like, it was all very sweet, like, hometown, little small town stuff. It was very adorable. Anyway, one day, like, just talking with Boris, he knew that I wanted, or I had been in the entertainment industry and that I was interested in it, of course. And one day he goes, you should come to set one day. He was working on Code Black. I think it's like an ambulance show. I don't think it's on anymore. But he was like, you should come to set one day. And I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry. Sometimes I feel like the story gets a little twisted, and I don't know if it's my own head or just like the way that time goes. We got into conversation about him working. And I said, I think my friend Christy is your costumer on the show you work on. I think she had like posted a story or a post on Instagram that I saw. And he's like, no way. Like, Christy, yeah, she works on Code Black with me. I'm like, that's so funny. I went to high school with her. I went to FITM with her, blah, blah, blah. So we like took a photo, sent it to her. She's like, oh my God, that's so crazy. What's going on? Like, how do you guys know each other? Blah, blah, blah. So then he goes, you should come to set one day. Like, if you're interested in the entertainment industry and costuming, you know? And I was like, nah, I mean, what would I do at set? Like, while you're working and Christy's working, like, what would I do? And he's like, no, just come. He's like, it's actually like, we're wrapping the show. So there's going to be like food trucks and people's family will be there. It'll be no big deal. So don't forget, I'm living in Hermosa Beach at the time. I'm still kind of helping at my family, my brother-in-law at the time had, and my sister had a winery called Pulcella Winery in Newhall. And I was working breakfast at Four Daughters Kitchen, and then on the weekend I was driving to Valencia working the winery. So he tells me, like, I think it was like that week. He's like, come this day. I'm like, okay, well, I'll have to come on my way to Santa Clarita. The show was being filmed at Warner Brothers, which is in Burbank. So it's on the way, but I was like, I'll only be able to stay for like 40 minutes. And he's like, yeah, cool, no problem. So I go home from my shift that morning from Four Daughters Kitchen. I get home to my home to like change and get my stuff to go to my one weird day at set. Like, that was going to be so weird. I was having anxiety about it. And then get my clothes to go to the winery later. My tire was flat. And I was like, well, guess I'm not going. It was all rainy. It was gross. And so I texted Boris and I was like, hey, like, this happened. I'm, not going to be able to make it. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it to my like shift tonight, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I think he was like, do you need AAA? Or like, I don't understand why that's going to be stopping you. He was so like dad mode. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. I got it. I don't know if I did AAA. I honestly can't even remember that moment in time. Ended up figuring it out. Drove my ass to Warner Brothers. Boris texts me and said, hey, traffic is crazy. I'm actually, like, I already let, my team know, but just to let you know, I'm going to be hours late to work today. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird because I just parked. I just pulled into Warner Brothers and what the hell? He's like, no worries. Like, let him know at the gate that, like, you're a guest of mine. And I was like, what? Where do I go? He's like, we're filming on whatever stage 6 or something. I'm making that up. I hadn't been to a movie, a stage, a set, anything since I was a young girl, like when I was still hanging around my dad. I'm talking about maybe 5 years old. So like, this was very much not, I was like out of my element. And I was like, well, I don't know why I'm here. I need to turn the hell around. I didn't. I start walking around, you know, they give you directions. They're like, turn left here, blah, blah, blah. Stage 6 is going to be on your right. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm walking around. Christy did not know I was coming. I'm walking around. Christy is outside. This is a huge studio lot, you guys. She's outside. She's like, Paige? I'm like, Christy? And she's like, what are you doing here? I was like, what are you doing here? She's like, I work here. I was like, right. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Two, Boris, you know, you work with Boris and I serve Boris. I'm a friend. I don't know. He invited me here and she's like, oh my God. She's like, well, he's going to be late. We're actually like delayed or whatever it was because he was going to be late. And I was like, okay. And she's like, well, what are you doing here? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. She's like, okay. You want to come like to set? And I was like, okay. You guys, the story is not made up. So she's like, do you have an interest in like being a costumer? And I was like, I don't even know what it is that you do. I have no idea what a costumer is. Now, by the way, Boris had told me, he's like, well, come to set if you're interested in being in entertainment. He's like, being in the wardrobe or the costume department, that's like one of the hardest gigs. You're there before people leave or before people get there. You're the last one to leave. You're washing people's chonies and shit like that. Like, it's not ideal. So like, know what you're getting into. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go to set with you. I don't even know what all that entails. So Christy's like, so do you want to like get in the industry? And I was like, maybe. And she's like, okay. She's like, let me introduce you to my supervisor. So she's walking me around set, introducing me to all these actors. I have no idea who they are. All the crew, all her friends, the costumers, makeup, all this stuff. It was so cool. You know, just like, I did feel camera, lights, action, whoa. You know, like that was awesome. She introduced me to her supervisor. She's like, hey, shout out Michelle Margolis. She was like, hey, Michelle, this is literally, I remember verbatim what she said. She goes, hey, Michelle, this is Paige. And Michelle's like, hi. Like, kind of, who are you? What are you doing here? And Christy goes, she's interested in getting the industry. She lives in Sherman Oaks right now, but she's moving to Hermosa Beach. She has been a server for like her entire life, so she has a great list memory, and she's a hustler. And walked out. And Michelle was like, nice to meet you. Shook my hand, was like, do you want to be a PA? Production assistant. Which I said, what is a PA? And she said, a production assistant. And I was like, yeah, I can. She's like, great, when are you available? She's like, by the way, you do not want to be driving from Santa Clarita in like, or from, you know what I mean? Like, it's too far. You're not making enough money as a PA, like all this stuff. She's like, you're going to want to be in a better situation. Oh, that's what it was. See, I know I get shit fucked up. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't mention that at a certain point then. So 3 years later, I go to move from Hermosa Beach to Sherman Oaks. That was a major part of the story that I missed, y'all. Because Hermosa Beach is so far from the studio lots that she was like, oh, you live in Hermosa Beach? Like, that's really far on a PA salary. You're not going to want to, like, drive in and out from there. You're going to be driving as a production assistant all day. And I was like, well, no, I'm actually, like, moving to Sherman Oaks. She's like, okay, cool. She's like, when are you available? And I said, you know, whatever, next week. She's like, okay, I'll call you. I ended up helping them wrap that show, which wrapping a show, you're in the costume department, what I was doing at the time, I was building clothing racks for people to put the clothes on. As a PA, you're not supposed to touch clothes, really. That's like a rule. So I was building clothing racks. I was breaking down boxes. I was getting people their coffee, their bagels, their sandwiches, like taking the trash out, sweeping the trailer, like that kind of stuff. And I was loving it. So I did that for like 4 days. And then Michelle was like, okay, like, thanks for your help on the show. Like, if I ever need you, I'll call you again. And I was like, okay, cool, bye. Thanks. Nice to meet you. So that was and that was end of the year. I didn't hear from her for a couple months. I get a phone call from her in February. And she goes, hey, Paige, this is Michelle. I don't know if you remember me, but we're going to start prepping for a show, School of Rock. It's a kids show. You know, we're not shooting yet, but we need someone to help with prep for the show. And we have a PA, but she can only do 3 days a week. So we need somebody 2 days a week. Do you want to help? And I was like, okay, cool. So started going to Paramount Studios twice a week, helping PA on the show. And you guys, I just had no idea what I was doing. Anything they asked me to do, it's like, she'd be like, I just can't even think of something so simple. She'd be like, did you see the Z-Rack? I'm like, the Z-Rack? Huh? What? I just didn't know this life. It was so new to me. So the reason why I think that that's important is because one day I was PAing and she goes, okay, the costume designer, which this is where Allison Freer, shout the fuck out, changed the trajectory of my life. She's the costume designer, and she's really the fucking tits. This woman is so amazing. I love her so much. She was on season 1 of the podcast too, and so that means her episode is gone, but she's gonna come back, and now she spends some of her time in Austin, and I just hope to know her forever. She's amazing. So basically, Michelle introduces me to her, and Allison is a ball of fire, like intimidating as fuck. Like this woman, like first of all, she's dressed in like bright colors, flowery. Like you wouldn't think that she's like a crazy hard ass bitch, but like she's a crazy hard ass bitch in the best way. But anyway, so I like Michelle's like, oh, this is our new PA. She's helping while the other PA like can't, do the other days. And Allison's like, okay, cool story, bro. Like, go do your PA stuff. Nice to meet you. So my task was, I was told to, can you bring these boxes to the background trailer? Can you bring these boxes to the background trailer? I think that was my task, I was told. And it's important to remember that I just said, I don't know the rules of the business. I don't know I didn't know. So it's actually so funny to think about. I brought boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of clothes out to the background trailer because that's what I was told to do. And what I proceeded to do with them is very, very illegal and not at all what I was asked to do. I ended up taking the clothes out of each box, hanging them on the racks, setting them up, color coding them, sizing them from it's a School of Rock show, so it's a private school is the set, you know what I mean? So they're all like plaid, and then like white polos and navy blue polos and ties and bow ties and maroons or whatever, but there's like tank tops and shirts and then long sleeves and then skirts and pants and dresses for the School of Rock uniforms and all this stuff. I set up this trailer, I color coded it, I sized it all, I was in there the entire day. I was sweating balls. I never came up for air. I didn't know. I was waiting to be told something else to do, but also I was so consumed with this that I was just this is my task. I'll get it done. The end of the day, Michelle and Allison walked their asses out to the background trailer, sitting in the middle of in the back of the studio lot. And they peeked in the door and they were like, whoa, what have you been doing in here? And I was like, I'm so sorry. Is it not right? I don't know. I just was kind of modeling it after my closet. I just did shorter shirts to longer shirts. And then I just color coded it. But I'm so sorry if it's wrong. I'm so sorry if it's wrong. And they were like, okay, interesting. I think it was the next time I came back to work, which was, I think it was the week after, because that was already my second day of the week. The week after, Allison called me into the office, and I thought I was in trouble. And she goes, do you want to be a costumer? And I said, I'm not sure. I really don't even know what that is. I've never done anything like that. I only have just done PAing on Code Black, and I've just been setting up for this show for 2 weeks, and so I actually have no idea. And she goes, what you did in that trailer, without anyone giving you any direction, you have to be a costumer. I'm going to get you in the union. And I said, okay. And she goes, but I'm telling you this, get a fucking backup plan. This world will eat you alive. This cannot be your only job. You need to have something else to do on the side. It will suck your soul. It will suck your soul. These people do not care about you. It's the hardest fucking work you will ever do. But I'll get you in the union if you want. And I was like, okay. And that's how I got in the union. And also, side note, I was really lucky. So again, genuine, I had no idea what it took to get in the union. I didn't even know what a costumer was. I'm being 100% sincere when I say that. So when I eventually got into the union, you have to get a certain amount of hours to qualify, then you have to pay to be in it, all this stuff. You go to it's a once a year, what is it called? An initiation. You have to go swear to your brothers and sisters in the union that you're not, I don't know, all this stuff. It's very serious and I still don't understand it. But anyway, you have to go to this meeting, and so mine was delayed quite a bit, but I don't remember who it was, but I knew someone that knew my story because I was told, Allison told me, she goes, don't walk around and tell people how easily you got in the union. Like, you'll be enemy number one. And I was like, oh my God, okay. And again, I still just was like, huh? What? I don't know. So when I went to this initiation meeting, or like, you know, had to, I can't remember the name of it, but you go to this meeting, big meeting. So all the people who had just made the union the year prior are there. So there's 100 or so people there, possibly, maybe a little less, 75-ish people there. And you're all in groups telling about your story, how you got in the union. And I had to completely fabricate mine because all I kept thinking was like, I'll be enemy number one. Can I just tell you, this is kind of the last thing I'm going to say because this is a long solo episode. Okay. The stories in the group, I was in a group of like 9 or 10 people that had just gotten in the union. The stories that they told about how they had to get in the union, they like sacrificed lives, families, time, money, scraped the bottom of the barrel, worked their fucking asses off in costume houses to get the hours that would qualify, because like I'll have to have someone on and explain that. That'll be another like good episode as far as costuming and like the Hollywood industry goes. But like you have to get a certain amount of hours in a certain amount of time. So like, and not all projects are union. So I was working on a union show, School of Rock. So that's why my hours when I worked qualified for me to get union hours. But like, imagine that show just stops. Imagine the season's over and it's like, shoot, I'm 2 hours, 2 hours short of my union hours to qualify. And the year's almost over. And it's like, you have to start over with your hours. It's like such an insane process. And I honestly do feel so lucky, which is why I keep up with my dues even now and I haven't costumed in a couple years. But I had to fabricate my story. When I was sitting in that 10-person circle, I was like, yeah, I've been PAing. I think I said like 2 or 3 years. I did get in on a waiver. Like I did meet a designer who was, able to help me in on that way. But like, no, I definitely like it was really hard. And you guys, it wasn't. And I feel terrible. After hearing these stories, I felt so bad hearing these people talk about how awful it was. So that's how I got into the union. That's how I became a costumer. That's how I started working with TV and movies. Honestly, the major players are, one, starting working at Four Daughters Kitchen, like a sign from up above, being one of 4 daughters while like me and my 3 sisters were going through the worst time in our lives as my mom was passing away. Like it was just a sign that I needed to be at that restaurant. Meeting Boris Kojo, becoming close with him and his family to where he felt comfortable and excited about inviting me to set one day to go hang out. 3, running into Christy that day. Because if I had just gone to set with Boris wasn't there, like I literally would have just, I don't even know what I would have done. Like walked in and been like, this is weird, walk out. So running into Christy, her introducing me to Michelle Margolis, having me on School of Rock, and Allison Freer being impressed with my work. Insane. And I get reminded all the time when everyone's like, that's so cool you did that. That's so cool you worked with blank. Oh my gosh. Like, I need to be less jaded. I need to be more excited about that amazing career that I had at one point in my life. And again, I'm still in the union. I can still work on shows. Like there's actually a show coming out here in a couple months. Like maybe I'll go like grab a day or 2. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I got in the union. What a whirlwind, but how fun was that? I think I like this solo format of telling you about like a specific moment in time in my life. Let me know your thoughts on that, if you don't mind. And I'm serious about that. Let me know your thoughts. You guys, I've got a couple wines of the week. 1, gray hair. You can't see it right now, but I was plucking my gray hairs, which I know you're not supposed to, but I was like, what's it gonna hurt, But now what it's hurt is like, now I have to continue plucking those hairs because now they just are short gray hairs poking out like devil's horns if I have my hair back at all. So now I have to pluck them all, but like now I'm trying to stop plucking them. So now I have like 2-inch long gray devil pointy hairs. don't pluck your gray hairs. Just own it, love it, color it, just don't pluck. That's what I would say. So that's my one of the week. My second one of the week is, I actually kind of already mentioned it. My friend and huge supporter of the podcast, Jess, sent me a gift, and the post office said that it had been delivered on the 6th, and it wasn't. And I asked all my neighbors, and they said no. And I keep checking my mail, and it's not there. And it was a really thoughtful gift, and so I'm so bummed, because that is just, like, so sweet of her to do. And the post office, like, in Houston has been so ridiculous lately. Like it's a real thing. That's why I was like, okay, don't worry about it. Like, it might be just a little bit delayed. Not to worry, you know? But it's not showing up. So that's my second one of the week, is the post office. Third one of the week is, I am very specific about my laundry detergent. I'm specific about a lot of things. Like, I have some weird things that I'm specific about. Like, I don't like to eat before I take a shower. I only like to eat after I take a shower, because I don't want to be full in the shower. And if I know I'm going to, like, just really go down on, like, something delicious, like a full-ass Jersey Mike sandwich, I don't want to be full in the shower. Do you guys get that or no? I like to brush my teeth before I drink anything. So, like, even if I just brushed my teeth, and then I had, like, a few chips, like, if I start drinking wine or anything to drink, I do like to brush my teeth. So those are just weird things about me. But my wine of the week is, I'm very specific about my laundry detergent. I got the wrong kind, and can I tell you, it is causing me, I'm so upset every single day. I smell the clothes I'm wearing, which is good. I guess I have my real scent back from COVID. I can smell it. I don't even know what flavor it is, what scent it is. It's, like, very fragrant, and it's honestly making my clothes not soft. I don't know if I used to get one with fabric softener and this one doesn't, or what. But imagine getting, like, a 42 pack of laundry detergent, which is, like, 42 loads. That's, like, months of laundry detergent, because I buy things in bulk. I do not like to run out of things. And that's because of me growing up poor and never having things. So I'm very specific about always having a lot of stuff. An extra body soap, an extra toothpaste. Like, and then when I use that extra toothpaste, I put another one on my list to buy. Like, so I have the wrong laundry detergent, and I just can't get rid of it. And it's like, I'm not going to throw that away. That's wasteful. I'm not going to return it. I had already opened it and used it. Although the other day I was at Walmart and somebody returned a bag of apples. And it's like, may we all have the confidence of somebody returning produce to a Walmart. May we all have the confidence of an overpriced banana at an airport. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we all need to have that kind of confidence. That's for damn sure. But yeah, that's my one of the week, and that's the solo episode. Oh my God, I feel like I loved that episode. Wow. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go put my flowers in a vase. Love you, whiners. If you wouldn't mind, like, I would just really I would so appreciate a review being left. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're still listening, just go leave a review. It'll take you 30 seconds on Apple Podcasts. That's where you leave the worded review. And then on Spotify, you can leave a star review. I love that too. You can also, I recently just had to add up my analytics to send to a brand that was interested in working with me. And, like, you will not imagine the freaking mathematics that go into it. It's like, for the last 12 posts, the likes plus the comments equal the this divided by the number of followers you have. Like, so like, comment, share, save, please do all the things. With that said, I gotta go put my flowers in a vase. Love you. See you next Thursday. Bye.